and then I can only really take on board that bell curve in the middle, the main swell of people that respond normally.
Darren, we have live music from Connell coming up soon, so I'm going to have to leave it there. I want to remind people that your TV show starts this Friday, 10 o'clock, Channel 4.
Yes.
That is also when your live show at the Garrick Theatre
So you can't
begins.
do both.
You cannot do both, but there is, some 32 dates, I believe?
Yeah, it finishes June the 7th. So
it is well received. If you've not seen Darren Brown live, it's extraordinary. If you're a doubter and you think that he uses stooges and people, it's remarkable to see it live, because when you start seeing people who quite clearly are real members of the public trudging their way out to the stage and having their minds twisted, it really is remarkable. So thank you so much, Darren, for coming in, and just thanks for bringing some magic into our lives.
I like to think I've left a little sparkle behind.
Thank you very much.
BBC.
From their debut album Fleet Foxes, that is Fleet Foxes, and a tune called White Winter Hymnal, and they'll be playing live end of May, beginning of June. Apparently they're very good live, so worth catching. Harry, it's your musical choice before we get Connell in here to play.
Yeah, well, for me, all bets are off for Album of the Year. I've heard it already. It's by a band called the Night Marchers. It's called See You in Magic. I was lucky enough to see them play in San Diego back in February. They're fantastic. They're coming over to London in June, and they'll be playing around the UK. This track is called Whose Lady Are You?
Thank you. That's Harry's choice on the Steve Show this week. What was it, Harry?
It's Whose Lady Are You by the Night Marchers. The album See You in Magic is out on vinyl tomorrow and on CD on June the 2nd.
Thank you very much indeed. Please welcome Connell, who's here to come into the studio on a Sunday. Didn't have to. Thank you so much for coming in, Connell. I'm afraid to say I don't know much about you. I don't really know where you hail from. Is this your first album?
It's the first album, yeah.
Is he up? Is his microphone up? Yes. People can hear you. Can you hear it? Text in. Can you hear Connell? 6-4. Yeah, so this is your first album, and there's been a single that's come out already.
Yeah, single came out last week.
Right.
Hang on.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Are there problems?
Yeah.
Jude has screwed things up, Connell. I'm so sorry. This was going to be one of the most in-depth and glamorous interviews that you've ever done.
Change microphones, how about that?
Oh, listen to that voice. What a smoky voice that is. And where do you come from?
I live in Peckham Rye.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say Tennessee with a voice like that.
Yeah, man.
Now the album, because I've heard the album, and it's great, but it's quite sort of, it's quite a sense of sort of late night sort of boozy decadence about it. Is that sort of what you're about? Are you quite a wild figure? Are you allowed to say?
I don't. My mum is.
Your mum might listen. Is your mum listening? Isn't that sweet?
She is, yeah.
She's going to hear the songs and it's sort of drugs and booze.
Don't say drugs.
No, not drugs.
There's a lot of things.
Sure, some stuff, ladies. Yeah. Sure.
Can we try Connell back on his microphone?
This is one of the most shambolic of things.
Yeah.
Is it working?
I fixed it.
Hello there.
Good old BBC. Thank you very much
I
indeed.
just knocked this microphone out.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Connell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The microphones are working. Thank you so much. Well, I think the best thing to do is to hear a tune from you, because that'll give a sense of sort of what you're about. So you're going to play the single for us?
Actually, I'm going to play another one.
Okay, great. This is from the album.
It's from the album. It's called Dog Meat Stew.
Thank you very much.
I just drank 3.
Come on, round of applause for that. Surely. Goodness me. Wow, I've just taken a swig of cough mixture. You think you're hard living. I've just nipped back a little bit of Benylin. There are others available, and I don't know if you need some, because your voice is just extraordinary. I mean, it's got that amazing kind of lived-in smoky feel. Is music something you were always going to do, or did you try telesales and the voice just sort of was a bit creepy and weird? You thought I should
try telesales, but the whole shouting over the phone thing.
Right, exactly.
Work,
Do you want double glazing? Sort of freak people out. But and so, how long have you been working in music? What's your sort of background? Did you busk? It sounds like the sort of thing I can imagine you doing. Perhaps living rough in a sleeping bag, busking. You've got that kind of lived-in voice.
There's a bit of life involved in it. All sorts of things like that. But I mean, but I'm a professional now, as you can tell.
Absolutely.
And
well, you were here on time.
I was maybe half an hour late. But we did all sorts of things, and but I played with lots of sort of funny musicians, and I think music comes from a really weird place, and I think nowadays in the sort of polished world that we're living in, you get sort of musicians who play stuff which isn't really very real, and it's just all sort of straight into the recording studio. And I think that you know, when you really play music with real people who aren't really interested in sort of coming to places like this, when they just want to play music, you get to sort of really dig underneath the surface of things and really sort of go really deep into things, you know. And I sort of really wanted to do that, and I really wanted to make sure that I was ready before I sort of did a
Right, yes, exactly.
recording,
Rushing into
you
the
know, and
studio,
I didn't want to be sort of, you know, I did have the aim of coming to sort of make a record and trying to, you know, come on shows like this.
Yeah.
But a long time ago, and I really sort of wanted to make sure that I wouldn't be caught out, you know, by, say you meet Mick Jagger and he sort of says, "Yeah, boy, you're a bit rubbish though."
Right, sure,
You
yes,
think,
exactly,
"Oh,
I know,
no,
yeah,
I'm a fraud," you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I'm like Mick Jagger or anything like that, you know. But what I'm saying is, if I met him,
You feel that you
would
could
be
talk to him as a peer?
Yeah,
in
it's
some
not.
way.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know about that.
Sure, but you know, the
I would be able
musician.
to say
yeah.
that I can play and I can sing and that's it, you know. And
Yeah.
but for the rest of it all, I don't really know. But you know,
But the album is quite, you know, it's got the bluesy influence, obviously, and the jazzy influence, and it's got that sort of that singer-songwriter thing. Yeah, on the album, you play with other musicians as well. It's not just you, isn't it? It's got a slightly fuller.
yeah,
sort of
an
band
amazing
sound.
thing happened actually during this period of heavy drinking and trying to get things together. I got a call one day from Danny Thompson, who's the famous double bass player for Nick Drake and
Sure.
Tim Buckley and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
And I sent him an email with links to some tunes I did, and he one day just phoned me up and said, "Cornell, it's Danny Thompson here." And I thought, "What?"
Wow, yeah.
Someone's winding me up, right? He said, "No, I've heard the music and I want to play with you." And so we recorded the album.
And is the producer someone who's worked with Tom Waits? Is that right?
Yeah, Chad Blake, the very famous in Los Angeles. He's got a few Grammys and he's done lots of Tom Waits records and loads of things. And the same thing happened with him. I'd always really admired his work with Tom Waits, and I mean, both of these people, I really thought this is never going to happen. And when it did, it took me about a year, I think, to really actually, when it was all finished, to think, did this really happen? Or
Yeah,
was this
yeah.
like a dream? You know, I woke up on a park bench one day and
Of course, yeah, still
someone
bleary-eyed.
said, "Here's a
Yeah.
record, baby."
Yeah. Did I work with Danny Thompson? And where are my keys? You ask yourself. Well, the album is fantastic. I've heard it already, and I think it's out in mid-May. Am I right in saying?
Yes,
Can you confirm that? Yeah.
May
I-
the
They can
12th,
check your
May the
website,
12th, I think.
I'm sure, and your MySpace and so on. But the album's called Strange Part of the Country, and it's out on Great Hair Records. And as at the moment, the single is free to download on MySpace, I believe.
It's free to download on MySpace.
And is that what you're going to play for us now?
I'm going to play that for you now. Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thank you very much, Connell. Thank you very much indeed. That's Connell. That track is Strange Part of the Country, which, as we say, is downloadable from Connell's MySpace page, and it's also the title track of the album, Strange Part of the Country, which is out mid-May on Great Hair Records. Thank you so much, Connell, for coming in. Another round of applause, please. Thank you very much. A single from the tail end of last year, that's Jack Pignati, of course, and Have I Been a Fool? Thanks very much indeed to Colin and also to Darren Brown. We will be back after the news with 3 tracks from the Pigeonhole, plus no doubt some other droll chat.
On digital.
From 1982, Kid Creole and the Coconuts and Annie, I'm Not Your Daddy, possibly the second greatest song ever written about a bastard, after Billie Jean, of course. So if you've got any other suggestions, 64846, let us know. We've had quite a few texts and emails, haven't we?
Emails and text going berserk, Steve. The main cause of debate today is how can you possibly avoid being mistaken for a serial killer if you're in your 30s, you're male, and you live on your own, and you have male pattern baldness?
It's difficult, isn't it? Don't, when you're on the tube, just start sniffing a woman.
No.
That is a giveaway.
And, you know, this all started because of Alice's email saying a man asked if he could hold my hand because the music we were listening to meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
That's not the behaviour of a rational human
No,
being.
that's textbook serial killer.
We've got an email here from Edward, and he finishes with, I too live on my own in my early 30s. I keep myself to myself and work from home. My job involves dealing with approximately human-sized sacks.
Sometimes he has to bring his work home with him.
Yeah, how can I
Fantastic.
avoid the neighbours speculating? I've
Well, always come home about 2 a.m. and drag your work heavily from the car into the house. But yeah, it's very tricky. I think another good way to make sure you look normal is to perhaps play a squeaky instrument like the cello or the violin in the middle of the night. That also always looks very sobering.
Yeah.
Dan in Camden has also texted in. He makes quite a valid point because we're making quite an effort, obviously, now to get the listeners into the show again, emails, texts, and everything. But we always dismiss them out of hand, really. And he says, I'm a student and a smackhead. Does that make me your most dedicated listener?
Good work, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to know that he's on the horse and enjoying it. There are many other drugs available. Okay, so we have to delve into the pigeonhole. 3 fresh tracks for your ears. We've had a lot of great new music, but these are the only tunes we're going to give our opinions on for some reason. And we'll start off with the new single from Paul Weller, co-written with Noel Gallagher. This is Echoes Round the Sun. New single from Paul Weller, that's called Echoes Round the Sun, co-written, as I say, with Noel Gallagher, and it's part of a double A-side single that will also feature Have You Made Up Your Mind from a forthcoming Paul Weller album called 22 Dreams, and the track is out on the 26th of May. So there we are, Paul Weller. I'll start with you, Harry. We saw him at Glastonbury. What was your take on that new single?
I really enjoyed it. When you hear it's Weller and Gallagher composition, you think it's going to be meat and potato stodge rock, but it was actually a lot better than that. Really enjoyed it. Because we saw him at Glasgow, and we really, and for a festival crowd you think he should, but he came out this week, didn't he, and he was saying how Glastonbury last year was terrible because of the crowd, because we weren't receptive enough to his boring album tracks, which are frankly dreadful. And he was saying, he said that in '94 it was Real Music fans, so I could play all the obscure stuff, and they were loving it. But no, this year it's just it's all bankers and sitcom writers.
I do think middle of the afternoon though, you should be at least popping a couple of classic jam hits out there, shouldn't you?
Exactly. If you're playing a gig for your fans who are interested in the obscure stuff, then go for it. But it's a festival. People want to have fun.
Do you CC that?
Yeah, I went to a pub quiz last night, and one of the questions was about the inscription on the £2 coin standing on the shoulders of giants. Remember Oasis called there standing on the shoulder of giants, which makes no sense. Echoes Around the Sun seems to make no sense. I don't know what it means, and the whole thing seemed a bit like a kind of ponderous vanity project to me, and it kind of started to get on my nerves.
Ooh, the worst kind of vanity project. I have to say myself, I was quite charmed by it. A lot of Weller's recent stuff has left me a bit cold, but I thought that was charming. Do you CC that?
I'm annoyed that I am charmed by it because Weller leaves me cold. As a man, I don't find him pleasant, I don't like him, and I don't want to enjoy his music and then hate myself for then enjoying it.
Sure.
He's really talented, he just comes across as a pain, to be honest.
A pain?
Yeah, I wanted to say something else, but it's been used 3 times in the show, and I think that's enough.
What was it you were going to say?
Arse.
Oh, you can't say that.
Oh.
Let's hear from Lamo.
Six Music. .uk/Six Music.
The last Shadow Puppets album is fantastic, by the way. Well, I'd love to have played a track today, but we couldn't because another track was played by the BBC 4 hours ago. So apparently, apparently people, well, we could play one now, right? So it was about an hour and 45 minutes ago. I reckon we could play one now. I reckon people could cope with that. I reckon they could cope from a popular album with a track from that being played within the space of their lives. But
Don't fight me, skinny boy.
Anyway, that's the rule apparently on the BBC. Okay, so this is a track we're going to play now, which we'll get your opinions on. It is being championed by both the NME and Radio 1. You know, a lot of people were saying that there's a giant chasm between the two. Is it Wearing My Rolex by Wiley that's building a bridge? Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Rich, and my little gang here. We are delving into the pigeonhole. 3 of the big releases, giving our opinions of them. That is released 5th of May to buy in your hand, but you can download it now. It's Wiley and Wearing My Rolex. It's a tune which, as I say, has been championed by the likes of the NME and also Radio 1. So it really is one of those tunes which is, is huggable by a lot of people. Are saying, will it make it to the number 1 spot? Will it make it to the number 1 spot in your heart, Sammy?
Absolutely not. It's been played too much on Radio 1, and it's...
Why are you listening to 1, not 6?
Because my car doesn't have it. I know, it is a car problem. I blame Tallulah, the car. I don't know, it's just been played so much and it just grates on me. It's like, you look at the lyrics of Tom Waits or Bob Dylan and think, crikey, that's poetry. Then you think that and you think, I could have sneezed that lyric. I could have just fallen over and that lyric would have fell out my ear.
I'm hoping you're going to catch my cold. That would be amazing.
I don't know, it has wound me up for weeks and it just seems to be boiling to a Rolex head. I don't like it.
No, you don't like
I don't like it.
Rufus